morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. How are we doing? How is how are you doing? How was the night? How was the day? And how was yesterday straight? How was yesterday straight? When I wake up today and I saw that I have eat take profit, woo, it was a joyful one. It's a 1 to 3 risk to reward trade, and it is very satisfying to see. So let's give it a minute and we'll get started into today's analysis. So we're still going to be buying NASDAQ today. We just need to identify the zone that we're going to be buying from so that we can, so we are going to be buying NASDAQ as well today. All right, let's quickly run into the analysis. So first of all, we did take profit yesterday. It was a 1 to 3 trade. So that means that the trade I took yesterday that I actually had a particular loss, I already recovered it. So which is pretty good. Now, NASDAQ is very close to the all-time high. So we are going to potentially be seeing something really nice happening. Okay, so let's go through the analysis now. And this is where it gets really interesting because the analysis today will be straightforward. So we're gonna remark every zone later on. So first things first, let's understand the previous day high and the previous day low, because we need to know how high and how low the market actually traded yesterday. So this is one of the things I really like to do first. I like to know the previous day range, like how much of movement did we have in the previous day. So this is Tuesday. I turn on my session break and then I'm going to identify the previous day low. So this is the lowest point for yesterday for me. Yes, this is the lowest point for yesterday for me. So this was the lowest point, and let's show it up a little bit. This is the lowest point for yesterday, and this is the highest point for yesterday. So for us to bring out the highest point, where is my eye? Where is my previous day eye? Where's my previous day high? Okay, let me just bring out another one, an horizontal ray. So this is the highest point for yesterday. And the funny thing is that right now, it's almost irrelevant because price already took it out. Like price already took out the previous day high. So there's almost no reason to mark it, but just for us to see where it is. So this is where it was. Previous day high. This is exactly where it is. So I think my TP was actually way over here. Yeah, this way it actually exited. Yeah, it exits from here. And it exited over here. So a 1 to 3, 1.77 mixed to reward. So the previous day high has already been taken today, so there's no need to mark the previous day high again. The reason why we mark the previous day high is so that we can potentially see an area of liquidity where price can potentially go to. So right now I'm going to take away the previous day high because price already took it and there's no need again in having it. So that means the next thing we need to know now, we need to know the Asian range, like how big was the Asian range, right? So I just turned on the Asian range right now, and I can see that during the Asian period was where we actually had most of the move of NASDAQ that hit our take profits. So that means that during the Asian range where we were sleeping, NASDAQ had actually moved 200 points. Whoa, that is awesome. Okay, so that means that now that gives us, opportunity to be able to mark out zones that NASDAQ could potentially actually come back to. But now let's look at the market in the higher time frame. So we already know the range that we are dealing with. So let's look at what's actually happening on the 4 hour. So let me take away the session breaks. Okay. Now on the 4 hour, NASDAQ has made a new high on the 4 hour. However, it's not the all-time high. So let's go again to the daily. On the daily, NASDAQ is approaching the all-time high already. Just like we said yesterday, NASDAQ is already approaching the all-time high. And I think NASDAQ can easily just take it out because the NASDAQ can take out the all-time high like today, maybe in this London session as well. And we're going to create a new high, and that's going to be so interesting because now we can trade the market in a more normal formation, break a new high, do a pullback, break a new high, do a pullback, break a new high, do a pullback kind of a scenario, and it will have been interesting. So this is what I'm going to do. And so we are approaching the highest points of the daily time frame, which is going to make NASDAQ to create a totally new high. So I wouldn't say we have any resistance point as of right now. I'll just say, well, we have a high, and NASDAQ is already very close to it right now. It remains just about how many points for NASDAQ to actually get there. This is where price currently is. Just 70 points, and I think NASDAQ is going to do it easily and then just blast through it and then take out the high and boom. Then we're going to be looking for a pullback and then, how to join the continuation. Now that NASDAQ is buying, I think we want to be on the safe side of make sure that we are buying NASDAQ only. So this is one of the things that we're going to be doing. Mostly this week, we should be buying NASDAQ and not just looking for sells. We have to be looking for buys this week. So, what's the next thing? Let's check on 1 hour. 1 hour to the same thing. All right, so let's go into the next point. So the next thing we have to do right now is we need to identify the zones that are going to be the highest probability zone that we should take a NASDAQ trade from. Right, and if you ask me, I'm going to turn on the Asian session indicator now. So this is the Asian range. Where do I think is a perfect zone, a demand zone to put NASDAQ right now? For me, I can see two already. One is already immediately below the Asian range. This is the level I'm hoping that if NASDAQ should pull back into this zone, I'm going to be taking another buy. If NASDAQ should pull back into this zone over here, this zone is exactly below the Asian range and it is inside the the institution candle that pushed price upward yesterday. So let's see what it looks like on 4 hours actually. On 4 hours, it looks like this. On 4 hours, it looks a little bit more like this, right? And it's pretty okay. I think we can do with it. Let me turn this off to make it a little bit clearer. So this area being the demand zone on 4 hour, but we can refine it better when we get to the 15 minutes. The reason why it is because if you stretch it like this, we stretch it backward, you see that this was initially a resistance level, right? Now that price has actually broken it, it's very likely to become a support level, because from this area again, then more and more buyers can think, okay, price is lower, then they can start buying NASDAQ from here again. So that's why we're going to be using this area as, our potential zone. Well, let's go to 15 minutes. Let's go to 1 hour first. On 1 hour, okay, it's still the same on 1 hour, but let's go to 15 minutes. So on 15 minutes, we are going to be able to see the zones clearly, right? So let's redraw this. Now, 15 minutes, where is the zone that we are going to be trading from? Potentially, there's two places we're going to watch out for NASDAQ reaction. We can watch out for NASDAQ reaction here. This is the 50% midline of the Asian range. And then we are going to be looking for reaction over here. So obviously, I'm going to be potentially looking for buy around this zone. So this would be a demand area for me. And this would also be a demand area. But this first demand area is more like you have to be careful, watch what it's doing, because below this demand area, there is a liquidity area, which is like the Asian range low, right? And there's a previous day low as also beneath it. So I will have to be careful when price gets into this first area over here that I'm calling the demand zone. Ideally, I would have been so happy if price take out the Asian low over here and then give a buy. For example, from where we are right now, let's say price come down the way here, then begin to give a buy formation from here. I would prefer to take this one than to take the first demand zone. And additionally, this range over here can actually provide buyer support as well. So the price may not necessarily tap into the extreme zone that I drew. So it can also tap into this particular. So I'm just going to call this one a watch zone. Let me call it a watch zone. potential support level. Okay, so there might also be, because over here price was balanced over here before the buyers actually take over, so it's very likely that this area is going to be the actual demand area that, you know, if, and there were two areas like that, that price was balanced before it actually shoot higher. Number one is this level and the other one is this level. So if price will return to the first one, we're going to see the reaction, and then if price will return to the second one, I would have preferred if price return to the second one. It gives us the more higher probability for the trade, because there is liquidity inside this second level, which is the Asian low. Normally, NASDAQ likes to take the Asian low. They like to take the Asian high, then they like to take the Asian low, right? So if NASDAQ should actually give us a move between now and New York session and take the demand, one of these demands, then we're going to be seeing a good area to take the continuation buy. And obviously, NASDAQ may not wait for us and just from where it is right now, can just break out and come back and continue going like that. So we're gonna see whatever happens. If NASDAQ should actually break out of the current Asian range right now, where it is now, and before New York, it has created a new high. So that means that we're going to potentially just be waiting for a minor pullback into this range as well. So this range too would, anyway, that's later on. This range might also now become an interesting area to look for, you know, more buys, but that will likely be happening later on in New York section. So for now, I think these are the outlook. So I'm not going to be selling at all NASDAQ today. I'm rather going to be waiting to see what the price is going to do in terms of buying. As long as NASDAQ can either pull back into the demand zones, or NASDAQ can actually take the high and low of, you know, take the high of the Asian session, or even take the all-time high, then we're going to be potentially having another area of interest for us to take our buy. Okay, for now, I think that will be the outlook on NASDAQ for today. We're going to just see it unfold and see it play out. All right, so before I actually end this stream, someone in the community actually wanted us to check out GBP USD. So I don't trade GBP USD. I've not traded it for a while, but I'm going to open it. So I've not traded it in a long time now, so I'm going to just open it and do the analysis off on that. So first of all, you want to do is you want to check GBP USD on the higher time frame, on the daily time frame. Okay, especially because it's currency, it's GBP USD. So check it out on the monthly time frame first. On the monthly time frame, you can see that it's actually bearish on the monthly time frame. It is, because the reason why I said it's bearish is because this is a high, this is a low, this is a lower high, this is a lower low. So potentially right now it is coming back in, it's trying to retest this high on the monthly. So it needs to break this resistance, you know, on the monthly for it to become bullish on the monthly, right? But currently it is bearish on the monthly, but it's potentially moving back into it for it to form a bullish behavior. All right, but on the weekly, the immediate thing that is actually happening right now, you can see a series of a high, of a low, a high, and this low is even lower. Okay, let's just leave it like that, high, low. So on the weekly, it's already trying to catch up into a bullish formation. It's doing a higher high over here, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high here, higher low. Then maybe this can be like the last leg formation to make the new higher high. So potentially what you're looking for on the weekly is that this week GBP USD should make a new high that reach, let's say, this level, and do a pullback, and then do another movement upward. So if that's exactly what it's doing, then you need to then go to daily to see what is daily actually doing for you. So far, actually, daily and weekly, they are trying to do the same thing. They're trying to create a new high. And if daily should create a new high, then that's going to give you more opportunity. So most likely in the short term right now, GBP USD, you need to be looking for buy opportunity. Let's check it on 4 hour. On 4 hour, it is bullish, but you can just buy randomly and say that you are good. 4 hour, if you want to be buying on 4 hour, you need to wait for price to get to this level, right? For it to get into this zone. If you get to this zone, then you're going to see, okay, what are they doing? Are they creating a shift of structure and stuff like that? Then you're going to take a buy. But if I'm going to identify the zones that I think might hold on GBP USD, so let's go to 15 minutes and turn on the same thing. turn on the session break. So when you turn on the session break, this allows you to see the range that you are trading between, right? So this is GBP USD. That means that the highest point that price traded yesterday, you identify the high of yesterday. This is the previous day high for GBP USD, and this will be over here, previous day high. And the previous day low, which is way below here, is the previous day low, okay? So now what is happening is that price has to take an area of liquidity, right? And if you see something happening right now on 15 minutes, this is a very, this is a potential demand area on 15 minutes. That price currently is already there. And there is an Asian range below it. So my expectation now on GBP USD would be that now that price is actually dancing towards the Asian low, and there is let's call it a support zone or a demand zone below the Asian range. My expectation is that now GBP USD is going to enter into this demand zone properly. When it enters into this demand zone properly, then you want to see, it has to do something like this, then maybe begin to form something like this. Now, as soon as it's creating like a higher high, higher low on inside this zone, like on a lower time frame, like on a 1 minute or 5 minutes, you want to start getting ready because they might potentially just start moving from there. And they can also do something like this, take it out, and then begin to give you a permission and then go up, right? So you have to just be careful when, but I believe that it should get into this zone. So if GBP USD gets inside of this zone, when it gets inside of this zone, then you should be able to see, what to do. But I think there's two zones. This is number one, and the second one would actually have been the second zone. Let's see it on 30 minutes if we can identify a zone for GBP USD. Let me turn off the session break. So honestly, let's see 1 hour. Yeah, this is still the zone that I will still pick because it's the area where price was balanced before there was an aggressive move for buyers over there. So you want to take an area where price is balanced and see that if price should come back inside that level, what will they do? Are they going to make any more move inside there? So you want to see what price is going to do there. Also, you could actually take this level as well, but when it comes to daily peep range of GBP USD, it's probably around like 100 points, 100 pips, right? So, well, it's unlikely that GBP USD would move all the way and get into this level and then give you another buy bar. This is another area for you to actually look for buys. In fact, it's a very nice area because it contains the previous day low, right? This area right here. Let me just mark it. Let me mark it. So I would say that you should be looking for buy on the GBP USD, but then when you're looking for buy on the GBP USD, that means you need to be patient. You need to wait for it to enter into one of the zones and then wait for a buy setup inside that zone. Then you can take it. But if you actually have a different method that you use in trading GBP USD, I would actually love to know. But for me, if I'm gonna trade GBP USD, there's another thing I can do. From where price currently is now in GBP USD, let's say it did not tap into the demand zone any longer than this. You want to see it from where it is right now. You want to see it take out this high, then pull back, then give a buy. Right? You just need it to show you like this high that you can see over here. If they can take it out, then you can actually then use it for as a confirmation that okay, this minor resistance over here, if from where price currently is on GBP USD, if you can break it a little bit, do a pullback and then look for your 1 minute entry confirmation, boom, and then put it there. Then if you do that, obviously your stop loss, if you're trading that idea, if let's say break and pull back and you are trading let's say somewhere around here, your stop loss actually should be in the low of Asian range. Do not put your stop loss exactly where you think it should be. Put it outside the Asian range and then target the previous day high as your TP, right? And I think that would actually be a good one for GBP USD. Okay, let's go quickly check back on NASDAQ and see if anything has changed since we checked it and see if we actually can just end the stream right here. Okay. All right. So NASDAQ is still doing its thing. If we get into the demand zone, that will be when we can potentially be interested. So NASDAQ is not yet in any of our area of interest. What we're just gonna do, I'm gonna put an alert so that I'm just aware when price actually gets in there, so I can potentially come and look for entry. I'm going to set two alerts, one here, and I'm going to set the second one right here. The reason why I'm setting the alert is so that if I'm aware, then I can see the alert, and then I can potentially come and see if there is any entry signal. If there's entry signal, I'm going to take it. If there's no entry signal, then I'm just going to keep waiting until New York. And I think that will be it. If you have any question about NASDAQ in general, any trading pair that you want, put it in the comments, and then I'm going to be potentially taking a look at them. This channel, we are going to be learning with each other, just sharing our ideas together, and let's all grow together, as beginner traders, or I can call myself intermediary trader now. It's it's easier when we trade as a community. So, all right, let's make sure to stay locked in, and we are going to be having a beautiful year. All right, enjoy the rest of your day. We're going to see each other again in New York session. All right, and bye for now.